Today we're going to learn about the properties of numbers. Specifically, we're going to learn about the commutative, associative, and identity properties. Now, each of these three properties applies both to addition and multiplication. So these three rules will turn into 6 rules, one for addition and one for multiplication. Let's start with the commutative property of addition, which says that if we take 6 plus 8, that's equal to the same as 8 plus 6. The order in which we add two numbers doesn't matter. We can add numbers in any order that we choose. So this can be helpful if we have a string of numbers, maybe like 5 plus 7 plus 15 plus 3. If we want to add these numbers together, it might be easiest to find groups of 10 or 20. So we see 5 and 15. Well, we could add those two numbers together, and then we could follow that by adding the 7 and the 3. And here we get 20 for adding the 5 and 15, plus 10 for adding the 7 and the 3, which gives us 30. This same property applies to multiplication. So we can do this, it looks very similar. We can do 6 times 8, and that's equal to 8 times 6. If you know your times tables well enough, you'll clearly realize that both of those are 48. So again, here's where we could use this. We could use it as 5 times 3 times 2. Well, 5 times 3 times 2, hopefully you can do regardless of using the commutative property of multiplication. But if you reorder that as 5 times 2, then times 3, you'll see that 5 times 2 is 10. Then multiplying it by 3 will give us 30. It can make your life a little bit easier using the commutative property of multiplication. Our next property is the associative property. And let's start off by looking at that with addition. The associative property of addition really talks about how things are grouped together or associated. So if we have 7 plus 3 and we're adding that to 9, what we're saying is that is the same as taking 7 plus adding 3 plus 9. You're like, well, what happened? What changed here? The order of the numbers is the same. So we go 7, 3, 9, 7, 3, 9. So unlike the commutative property, the order is still the same. But we've now grouped numbers using parentheses in a different way. So instead of adding the 7 and the 3 first, we're now adding the 3 and the 9 first. And this is a property that is valid for multiplication. And again, this could be useful depending on what numbers you're looking to add together. It might make your arithmetic a little bit simpler. Again, the associative property of multiplication works very similarly. We could do 3 times 9 and multiply that by 2, and that's the same as 3 times 9 times 2. Again, 392 on the left side of the equals, 392 on the right side of the equals, but we're grouping the numbers differently. The last property that we're going to look at is the identity property of addition. The identity property is looking for what would we add to a number that would maintain its identity. Well, hopefully that's an obvious answer. It's 0. So this is really utilizing something that you already know. When you add 0 to something, it stays the same. So we could even, of course do this with any number, but we could also even look at this with variables as we'll progress throughout this year. X plus 0 equals x. So anytime you add 0 to anything, you're left with the same result. Now be careful, the identity property of multiplication. Remember, for the identity, you're looking for it to stay the same. So whereas in addition, we wanted to add 0 so that the number remained the same. Well, now we don't want to multiply by 0 because that's not going to give us the same result. 7 times what will give us 7? For multiplication, the identity is 1. So we need to multiply any number by 1 to maintain its identity. Before we move on, I want to just highlight a tricky example that sometimes throws students off, where they confuse the associative property with the commutative property. So let's look at the example where we have 3 plus 4 added to 7, and that's the same as 7 plus 3 plus 4. Now, students see parentheses. They gravitate towards, associative property. I know that's the one with all the parentheses in it. But let's think about this. What numbers are grouped together? The 3 and the 4 are grouped together on the left side of the equals. They're also grouped on the right side. Associate is kind of another synonym for grouped. So the same groups or the same associates are together. So we haven't used the associative property. What we have done is we've changed the order. On the left side, we started with the 3 and the 4 group first, and then we had the 7 second. Whereas on the other side, we have the 7 first, followed by the 3 and the 4 second. So we changed the order. So this example is actually using the commutative property, not the associative property. Similar things can work for the associative and commutative property of multiplication.